Hey, Johnny's back in the kitchen. Benvenuti. Welcome to everybody. Going to do a couple of dishes that feature fagioli cannellini, white Tuscan kidney beans. I got beans on the mind today. I'm going to make two different dishes for you. They're really simple and delicious. You know, the last episode that we did, I made that fresh fettuccine with the black truffle sauce. You know, truffles are pretty expensive, so I really love to cook with them, but it's an extravagance. I'm grateful for the opportunity to be able to cook with them every once in a while. But today we're going back to my old kitchen, my cucina rustica, my cucina povera, the rustic food of poor people that you find all over Italy. That's the mainstay of my kitchen. It's the kind of food I grew up with in Jersey, and it's the kind of food that I love. Seasonal, local, fresh, just a few ingredients in most of my dishes, and you're going to see that again today. So we're going to make two different dishes. I'm going to make escarole with the white Tuscan beans, and I'm going to make also Uccelleto, which comes up from Tuscany. It's a really delicious bean dish. So let me show you what we're going to take them one at a time. Let me show you what we're going to do and what we're going to use in the first dish, the escarole with beans. Let me come around so I can show you some of these ingredients. First of all, we're going to be using escarole. So I think you can see these pretty good. This nice fresh bunch that I picked up at the market today. I got two of them. I don't know if I'm going to use both of them. I think one's going to be enough. Then we got some onion over here. We got salt and pepper. We got olive oil. Let me show you these other two things. I'm not a snob. I don't mind using canned beans, and that's what I'm using here. This is the Sionese. This is a brand that I really like. It comes from Campania, and we're using fagiolini cannellini, white Tuscan beans. And we got the onion, and under the onion, I want to show you some of these. These are little chili peppers. Let me see if you can see them. These I get from my guys down at Little City. They grow them in their garden down in San Mateo. So I'm going to use just a little piece to give the escarole and beans a little bit of heat, not too much. Okay, I think I told you about everything, so let's get cooking. Get my pan on here, put the olive oil over here that we're going to use, the salt and pepper over here. Clear this out a little bit. That's for later, so get the hell out of here. Okay, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to slice a fat piece of onion. A lot of people use garlic in this dish. I don't. I like the sweetness of the onion instead. So that's what I'm using. And a lot of people also they like to soak the beans overnight, then cook them up, and then use those. I ain't using those in this recipe. I'm using the canned beans. Okay, I think we got some heat in the pan. Let me give it some olive oil. That should be enough. The recipe's posted, so you can see what the measurements are for the ingredients. Oh, the flame didn't even come on. Okay, but we're okay. That's going to heat up. So I'm just going to take the onion and I'm going to cut it in maybe 1 inch slices here. As soon as that oil comes up to temperature, I'm going to put these in. So I think the onions, rather than the garlic, add some sweetness to the escarole. The escarole, is, when it's raw, it's a little sweet and a little bitter, but when you cook it, the mellow flavor is going to be more prevalent. And the onions are going to help with that. So it's just still coming up to heat over here. We'll give those a second. Okay, which one of these is the biggest one? I think it's this one, so I'm going to use this one. Let me get this out of the way. You hear the creaky floor in my kitchen? My downstairs neighbor, Valerie, that's all she can hear. She can hear me walking around, but she can hear the creaks. Okay, so these onions are starting to get a little heat here. I just move them around. So I got a nice sizzle going on here. So, you know, when you're cooking, you use all your senses. You use your eyes, you use your ears to hear what's going on in the pan. You use your nose, and ultimately you're going to taste with your mouth. I don't want to get any color on these. So actually, I'm going to turn this down a little bit while we deal with the escarole. The first thing you want to do is take away the bottom of the bunch over here. And this is a nice one. Usually they're bigger, right? But they have these small ones. I think these are going to be tender. So all I'm going to do with this is I'm going to cut them in about 2-inch ribbons. Oh, this is a nice one. See this inside? A lot of times I'll save these yellow and white inner leaves and I'll use them for a salad, but I'm going to use it all up here. Okay. Got a little bit more of the core over here, so I'm going to put this aside. Okay, so no color on the onions. That's a good thing. Whoop, I see a little piece of onion skin over here. Let me get that the hell out of there. Come on. Okay, the whole thing's going. I got my compost pail down there. Okay, so that's it. So now let's just take all of the escarole and put it in here. We're just going to wilt it down. Break this part up over here. Nice sizzle. Get the rest of it. And I'm going to toss it to mix it with the onions. And escarole, you know, cooks pretty quickly, so you can see it's reducing in volume already. And sometimes, if I want to make sure I'm not burning the onions, I may just add a little water to keep this going. So I think I'm going to do that now. I'm going to turn this back up to heat up a little bit toward high. I got to get my water pitcher. I'll be right back. So just a little bit, and when I add water like that, I make sure I'm back on a high temperature. Okay, let's see what's going on. I'm going to give it a little salt. That'll help wilt it. And I'm going to give it a little bit of freshly grated black pepper, not a lot. And I'm going to throw in this little piece of the chili pepper from my guys down at Little City. Okay, you can see already, I think, that this is starting to wilt nicely. I'm going to give it a little more time here. Give it a good head start. And if I have to, I may add a little bit more water. Let's see, the volume's almost gone. Good. Okay. In fact, as I tell you a little bit about the beans. So this is a really good brand, the Strianese. I'm going to use it also in the other ready, the Uccelleto that I'm going to make. But when you get the escarole wilted, I'm going to put all of the contents of this can into the pan, even the liquid. A lot of people rinse these out, they get rid of that liquid. I use it. I think it adds a little bit of texture and a little bit of flavor. It's going to make the broth a little bit thicker. So let me take a look and see how these are going and see if we can add the beans. Okay, there we go. Some of this water that's helped wilt the escarole is gone. So that's good. We don't like a lot of extra water in here because now we're going to add the cannellini beans. So just take the whole can, dump the whole thing in there. Look at those beans. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. I got to get some more water. I want to slosh this a little bit to get the rest of the liquid out of the can. So, sloshing is one of my favorite things. I do it with tomato cans. I don't want to waste nothing. So let me get this in there. Hey, you escaped. Get in there. Okay, I think I got everything in here. So you can see there's a fair amount of liquid in here. We're going to want to let this reduce a little bit, but the contents of the can and its liquid has really made this broth thicker. That's what I wanted to happen. Okay, that's good. It's going to leave a little bit more time cooking. So I'm going to I'm going to switch pans actually, because while this is finishing up, we can start the Uccelleto. Let me see what I can do here. I don't want to make a mess. So I got another pot over here. I'm going to see if I can get all of this into this pot. Looking pretty good. The rest of this escarole out of here. And then we can use this same pan for the Uccelleto. Okay. Move this to the side. Put that back there for now. And I'm going to let this continue cooking. There we go. I'm playing this by ear, right? I didn't know if I was going to be able to do two at a time. Let me put this over here and shut this off for a second. Clean up a little bit over here, and then I'll show you where we're going next. So Uccelleto is a favorite in Tuscany. You'll see it all over Tuscany. The restaurants usually always have it on the menu. Maybe you get a nice little bowl that you can share, part of an antipasto, and they usually charge you maybe €3. But it's a really popular dish. I use one of these paper towels to dry everything off. So I fell in love with Uccelleto on the first bite. The first time I had him, anytime I was in a restaurant up in Tuscany, Florence, Arezzo, wherever I was, I'd always look to see if they had Uccelleto, and if they did, my friends and I loved it, so we always ordered it. And even when we're in Rome, right, and we haven't been up in Tuscany for a while, we may get a desire for Uccelleto. So there's a restaurant in back of Piazza Navona called La Fiammetta. It's a Tuscan restaurant. So if we're really jonesing for Uccelleto, we'll go there because we're going to have a delicious meal and also a nice bowl of Uccelleto. Let me make sure everything's looking here. Looks okay. Beautiful. Okay, I'll show you this when we're going to plate it up. But going to let it continue. I'm going to just put the lid on, but I'm going to let the steam escape from over there. And I'm going to bring this down to maybe a medium high. Okay, let's get the big pan back. And I'll tell you about Uccelleto. So this one I did with the dried beans. Let me come over there so you can see all of this. And I need another bowl while I'm there. Okay, so here's the dried beans, right? So you got to soak these at least 5 hours. Mine I soaked overnight. And then I boiled them, brought the water up to a boil. I put the beans in, brought it down to a simmer because you don't want a rapid boil. You can't even see me. I'm over here talking to you. You don't want a rapid boil because the force of that boil could split the bean, and then if it does, there's a good chance the beans are going to get mushy. I don't want that. So after it's out of boil, you put the beans in, let them stay a little bit, and then turn it down to a simmer with a top on. And after about 10 minutes, this is what you got. Look at these beauties. So this is what we're going to use to make the uccelletto. Okay. The other ingredients are just garlic and bay leaf. I'm sorry, and sage leaf, fresh sage, organic sage, and a couple of cloves of garlic. And this is another simple one. And here's another Stevia product. You'll see over it says biological. That means it's organic. And Stevia, again, it's a brand I love. It's in Campania near Naples, south of Naples. And the tomatoes are grown in that district, so you could get the guarantee that they're the real deal. But I want to tell you something. There's no DOP on here. So this is a trick. If I find a brand that I like and I can find it without DOP, I'm pretty confident that's going to be a good product because, on one side of the road might be where the government approves to grow the San Marzano. This, because it's not DOP, might have been grown on the other side of the road. Same tomatoes, everything else is the same, the environment, the soil, it's just outside of the designated area. And they're cheaper. So keep that in mind. Hold on, I got to look over here again. Yeah, this is looking good. And I can reduce the broth. So I'm going to put this lid over here for a second. This way I can keep an eye on it too. Nice. So I just want to make sure that I get that escarole tender. The beans they just have to heat through when you use the ones in the can. Okay, so what are we going to do now with the uccelletto? Few ingredients. We got the beans, we got the sage, and we got the garlic. Again, all of the recipes there give you all the details. So let's do a little boom action over here. Here's one. Here's the other one. So yesterday I was down at Little City and Graziano was there. Graziano was the owner of Cafe Puccini. That's one of our favorite hangouts. Unfortunately, it had a nasty fire a few years ago, and it never opened up again. But he's now working at Little Cities every once in a while to help out Mike. And I was talking to him about the Uccelleto. So I was thinking about maybe using um, tomato paste for this because you want a little bit of that flavor. Graziano talked me out of it. He said, no, it's too strong a flavor. You want the flavor of the beans to shine through here. So you don't want you don't want to. I'm having trouble with this burner now. It's got to start acting up now. Let me leave it a second. He said, don't do that. He said, just use canned tomatoes. So that's why the San Marzano. Let me see if I can give this a boost. I got a lighter anywhere around here. Let me see. I don't have one of those sparkers, so I got to be careful. It's the first time this happened to me. Wow. Hold on a second. We got a stove malfunction. Oh, that ain't gonna happen. Try one more time here. I don't think the gas is coming out of that. Okay, hold on. I gotta refigure this. Let me move this. Maybe I can do it on the back burner. Sorry, guys. I didn't anticipate this. See if I can get the back one going. Hey, stupido. I was turning on the wrong one. Okay, don't tell nobody. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to open up this can. I love these. You don't have to use a can opener. Just go like this. They got a place to put your thumb, and you pull this back like this. So I'm only going to use a couple of these. So let me see if I can get them out. And I'm going to put them in this bowl. Oh, here's one. See how nice these are? They fall apart. These are very meaty, these San Marzanos. And I'm going to wipe this hand off because I'm not using this to squash them. But the first thing, I'm going to put some olive oil in the pan and a fairly good amount because this is going to help create the sauce for the beans. I'm going to take the two garlic. This one didn't smash enough. Let me do this because I want the garlic to infuse the olive oil. So I put those in there. Then I'm going to put the two sage leaves in. And I don't want the garlic to get any color, so I'm going to keep an eye on this. I'm going to wait until the sage starts to crinkle. Turn the garlic. And as soon as the sage toasts a little bit, we're going to add the tomatoes. And the tomatoes, what I do is I just take them and I make a mess. I usually do this in a bigger bowl. And I don't like the stem in the middle. So I take that out, this piece. And if there's any skin, I'll take that out too. And here's the stem here. I'll get rid of that. Okay, so I'm going to check and make sure that look at this mess I made over here, that we're doing okay with the sage and the garlic. The garlic's just starting to pick up a little color. That's what we like. So now we're going to add the tomato. Move that around, and if the pieces of the tomato are too big, I'm going to try to break them up a little bit. Okay, how easy is that? So you see the oil's taking on a golden color. You're going to get flecks of the tomato and the flavor of the sage. So those really are the only flavoring agents. Near the end of when you boil the beans, you you save some of the water, the cooking water. And it's the same like with the can. That water that I got in the cup over there is going to help thicken the broth. So this is going well. I'm going to put the beans in. Move these around. And these are fully cooked, so we just want to heat them through. And here's a cup of that cooking liquid. I don't know if you can see, it's got some of it's a little changed color from the beans. I'm going to put that in here and just let this cook. And if I need more water, I'll just use some of my filtered water. So I'm going to turn this back up to high because we want the sauce to really thicken. So I'm going to let this maybe come to a light boil. Timing's an issue over here with this stuff, trying to do two at a time. Let me see where we are. Check my escarole. I'm going to put the lid over here. The escarole's looking good. I think I'm going to be able to shut this off. Yeah. The escarole's, well, it's cooked. It's cooked now. It's going to be tender. Okay, so that's going off. We're done with that one. Number one, finito. Now we'll see what's going on with this guy. See, it's still soupy, so we're going to let this continue to cook. Oh, good. It's going to give me a chance. You know, I'm looking over here too to make sure I like the color of the tomatoes. I put two in. You know, I think that's going to be okay. So we'll let those continue to cook. I'll put the lid on, leave it a little bit of a jar. Let me get this stuff all out of the way. Because I think I'm going to be ready to taste the escarole and beans. Get rid of some of this stuff. Sorry, guys. Just want to clean up a little bit. You mind? I'll be right back. We got to wait anyway for these beans to go. But in the meantime, let me get a dish because I think I'm going to be ready to plate up. And I got a treat to go with my escarole and beans. It's an easy dish, and a lot of times I'll just make the escarole and beans with a nice hunk of bread, and I got a nice baguette here that I'm going to use. Oh, I got to tell you about this. I got lucky. My market down on Polk Street started to carry this take and bake. Usually I don't get this because I got Acme Bakery. We got a lot of good bakeries where I can get the bread. But this one caught my eye because it's from Nancy Silverton's La Brea Bakery in Los Angeles, one of my favorites. I'll tell you a story one time how researching for my focaccia recipe, Nancy Silverton gave me some very helpful hints that I incorporated into my recipe. But that's another story. I'll tell you about that later. Okay, let me get some of this Escarole. Plate it up here. I want to make sure I get a lot of beans because that's my favorite. And beans are good for you. You know, they're a legume. They're very nutritious. That's enough. I don't want to be a hog. But I didn't tell you. I got something special. I'm going to leave some of this broth over here. That's fine. But back here, I roasted some Little City sausage. This one's a calabrese. That's flavored with those hot chili peppers. So I'm going to have this because I think it'll be a nice foil for the escarole and beans. But before I do that, that's a little hot anyway. Let me see how we're doing over here with the Uccelleto. Oh, it's coming nice. Just need to reduce this a little bit more. So I'm going to leave that without the lid on. And when I boiled the beans, you know, you can see that they're ready. You got to test them. After about 10 minutes, you'll see the skin gets a little wrinkled. So take a couple, cool them off, taste them. They should be pretty creamy inside. And because I knew these were going to finish in this pan, um, I'm going to I took them out a little bit early because I knew that they were going to continue to cook in that liquid. But again, I forgot to get a fork. So I like to put a little extra olive oil on top, a drizzle. And let me cut one of these, couple of slices here with the other knife. Now, the other thing you could do is you can serve this in a bowl with more of that broth and just put the slices around the side. And then you're going to have a complete meal. Okay. Let me do these one more stir, but they're getting close. Yeah, hold on. I got to keep an eye on this for a second. Yeah, that's done. Let me take it off the heat completely. And the La Brea bread. See how that's going to be with this. Nice. Beautiful. Look at this. See now, that's why I left the liquid over there, because I can use the bread to sop it up a little bit. And that's exactly what I'm going to do. Let me taste just the beans and the scotch off first. Hmm. So simple. How long did it take? The escarole with the onions, very mellow, a little sweet, and the canned beans are creamy. What a nice combination. Hmm. Where's that bread? There it is. Hmm. The broth's fantastic, very flavorful. And because we put that the liquid from the can, I'm even in the broth getting the flavor of the beans. Let me see how the boys did with their Calabrian sausage with the hot chili pepper. Mm, perfect match. Hey, they made them hot today. but you got that heat in the sausage, and then the sweet creaminess of the escarole and beans. Mm, delicious. You guys have to make this for yourself. I always, excuse my eating. I always want to make sure I have extra. I'll keep it in the fridge, and it could be another meal with a nice hunk of bread, even without the meat. That could be another lunch or a light dinner. Wow, I'm gonna have one more bite. I'm gonna be full of beans, and then I'm moving on, get another dish. Hmm, the broth. Okay, let's leave southern Italy and let's make our way back up to Tuscany. I ain't got no place to put anything. I got to go over here now. My thing with this, where's my? I'm gonna need a bigger spoon. You like this mug? Another one from Deruda. This is a classic pattern. What is that? A dragon? I don't know. Seahorse? Beautiful. Okay, let me get some of these. And again, this isn't going to be like with a broth. These are pretty much going to be on their own. And this is the way you're going to find them when you're in an osteria or a restaurant in Florence, anywhere in Tuscany. I come close so you can see these. So they're just a little bit of the color from the tomatoes. And I'm going to taste them. If I need to, I'm going to see how it's flavored with the garlic and the sage. Here I am. I didn't go nowhere. And if need be, me a little drizzle of olive oil. And I got another surprise. I roasted another kind of sausage. Where is it? This one. This one is also from Little City, but I got Uccelleto from Tuscany, so I got a porcini sausage. This is also a way that they make them and enjoy them up in Tuscany. This one's simply flavored with a little nutmeg and a little bit of garlic. So let's see how this one's going to go. You know what? I think I grabbed another. This is another one of those chilies, the hot pepper one. I don't want that. Yeah, this is the one with the flavor with a little bit of nutmeg and garlic. Okay. First, let me taste the beans for you. See, they're moist. They got a little bit of that tomato olive oil infused with sage and garlic. Let me see how they taste. I want to make sure that the beans are still the star. They're wonderful. The beans are creamy, and there's just a hint of the background flavor of sage and garlic. But as Graziano said, don't use anything that gets in the way of the flavor of the beans. Mm. And one of his sausages. Fantastic. Two simple dishes. How long did it take us? Maybe these two took about 20 minutes. So add these to your repertoire. Make them. You're going to love beans, and cannellini beans are one of my favorite. Use the can if you're in a hurry, If you're thinking ahead of time, soak them overnight and boil them. Then you'll end up with the Uccelleto I have here. Guys, been good seeing you. I'm eating and choking over here. Good seeing you again, and I'm very pleased to have shared another lunch with John. Ciao, ciao. A presto. We'll see you later. Keep on cooking.